stand it up. Okay, it's good. It's good. Good. Does it look like it's got kind of aimed the right way? Should just show the screen on the podium real quick. Podium's to the right of the screen. Is it okay?
Very interesting. Yeah, I just waited until it was all done and just watched it all. I can't see from far away. Well, it's like saying, well, we're going to the stage. Right. Yeah, right. Okay. We'll get the traffic. Yeah, your daughter has.
Good evening. Whoa, it's a bit loud. If I could ask everyone to take their seats. Take their seats. Okay, I think we're almost ready here. We've got a couple of people finding their seats. So I would like to say welcome to all of you. Welcome to Northern Trust. We are really very excited to host this event. My name is Jeannie, and the reason that I'm so excited to host this event is because my soul lives in Africa, because I am originally from South Africa. I'm born in what is called Bulawayo, now Zimbabwe. In those days it was Rhodesia, and I grew up in Durban, South Africa. Moved to Tucson, Arizona in 1983 when I married an American, and I have been here ever since. I'm not quite sure why I'm still here, because I was previously a mermaid, and I don't know what I'm doing in Tucson, because we do not have an ocean, so I'm not quite sure. But when I heard that these two ladies were traveling to Africa on a photographic safari, and the fact that they were sisters going to Africa, I was like, I cannot wait to see all your pictures. And then I said, hey, you know what? Let's have a photographic safari at the office. I'll host an event for you to share all your photos with us. So I'm so thrilled that you've all come tonight and that you're here. And again, we'll have food and drinks available afterwards so that you can mingle. I'm hoping it'll be interactive and you'll ask lots of questions. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce both Ms. Carol Parker and her amazing sister, Patty Hosmer.
So this is not my thing. I am not a public speaker. So what I'm hoping is that this will be an interactive conversation, and we'll try to tell you the stories about what was happening, what made these photographs come around. I do have to tell you that Patty and I each took 40,000 pictures. So we brought all 80,000 pictures with us. Hopefully you have your sleeping bags. That can be blamed on the motor drive. You want to know that there's going to be action, you keep it in motor drive, you push a button, it goes, you got 20 pictures. And that's great when the lions are attacking the wildebeest, but it's not really great when you're looking at a tree. So it's going to take you years to go through all these photographs. So, as I said, please speak right up, let's have a conversation, and enjoy. This is just a little iPhone introduction, just to get you in the mood. Give you an idea what it's like to be in a Land Cruiser. Going 80 miles an hour in the savannah. It's an elephant orphanage that we visited. It's the David Shelter Trust. Good thing to donate to like restaurant. Appreciation for the Toyota Land Cruiser. Notice the wildlife is not shy. You don't want those to fall out of the tree and hit you on the head. So that, just a little bit what it's like. This is a collage of, I mean, you're going to see pictures that we both took, so we've interspersed them. Some are Carol's, some are mine, and they're not labeled, so you'll see a variety. And we have a lot of very similar pictures because we did travel in the same vehicle. Yeah. We decided next time we should change vehicles because then we would have a different angle, but yeah, we were shoulder to shoulder. It's like, that's my picture. No, that's my picture. So every morning, we got up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we weren't allowed out of our tent alone. They'd come and wake us up, we'd get dressed, they'd come back and they would escort us to the breakfast table. You do not wander around in your safari tent at night, in the dark, with all the animals close by. And in bed during the night, I did hear like hyenas, I heard lion chuckling, and they make a kind of a chuckling noise. Definitely heard that nearby, so not something you want to do.
So they got us in time for the sunrise silhouette shot every morning. They had a place picked out for that kind of event. One of the drivers, he's wearing what's called a shuka. There's one on the table over there. I got very attached to shukas. It's like traditional Masai item of clothing. The traditional color is red, which is the color of blood.
These men are all Masai warriors, descended from Masai warriors, the Masai tribe. And we were in the Masai Mara National Reserve, which is 500
or 600
square miles of land. So that the animals are protected in there, and they know the animals.
And the animals obviously know him.
Yeah, obviously they've seen enough land cruisers going through.
This is one of our drivers.
What would we call him? This is Alex. Oh, yeah, we called him
Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti. So he's the younger brother of the man who owns the company that hires these drivers out. The main guy is Simon, who's about 6'4" maybe.
Yeah, he's pretty big guy.
He's huge. You'll see him in some pictures. He's a big guy, and he has all these drivers that drive for him, and he's been driving for photographers for a number of years. I think he said he started in 2007 and knew what he was doing in 2009. But he knows where to put you. He puts you in the light. He puts you where the light's best for a photographer. He knows when something's happening. He'll be in the front seat going, "This is going to happen. Get the shot. Get the shot. Get the shot." And it's like nothing's happening, and you just trust him. You just push the button, and all of a sudden something happens. And this is his younger brother, who's pretty wild.
They dressed like this for us. They also had a few sweatshirts and jackets and beanie hats. But he's got that machete on his hip. We told him he had to take the barcode and price tag off. We thought that just didn't. And the reason what we were doing when we took this picture is because our Land Cruiser had broken down. It had broken a spring in the shop. We were out in the middle of nowhere. So he got on his little radio, called for help. The other vehicles in our group came by, picked us all up. He stayed behind with the red Land Cruiser. As far as I could tell, we were in the middle of nowhere. The next day, that car had been towed, serviced, repaired, and was back in action the next morning. Don't think that would happen in Tucson.
They have phenomenal mechanics, and these vehicles break in the bush. And they call, and they come get them, and they either fix them in the field, or they drive in and fix them, and they're in operation within 12 hours. It's incredible.
Wow.
Let's push a button.
Sorry. Oh, so she's using that, I'm using this.
Okay.
Can you hear us? Okay. Okay.
So he looks a little grouchy. But actually, full disclosure, that's the very end of a huge yawn. I could have saved the yawn part, but I thought he looked kind of nasty there, so I'm not sure that.
Is the white on his face because he's old?
No, I think that's just his natural coloring.
It's kind of a fawn trim around the edges, sort of like a corgi.
I did read that the female lions prefer the lions that have the black meat over the ones that have the brown meat.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I read that. And also, the bigger and fuller a male lion's mane is more indicative of how successful he has been in fights. Because he's been the winner, he hasn't gotten all this mane ripped out. That's just a little lion cub. The lion cubs play nonstop. Mom and dad lions just sleep. I think they sleep 20 hours a day.
We've got a question in the back, Ms. Carroll.
Yeah.
What kind of camera were you using?
We were both using a Sony mirrorless A9, which is the bestest camera days these days. You can take 20 frames per second, which is why I have so many pictures of trees.
How far away were you from that?
What's that?
How far away were you?
Really close.
These,
Plus, my lens was like this big.
we were using anything from, there's a zoom lens. Sony just came out with a 600 millimeter prime lens, and then they also came out with a 200 to 600, of which both of us had the 2 to 600. But these babies, this group here, they were probably 20 feet from the truck, having a great time. The parents were just lounging, sleeping, having a good time, and the babies were just having a party in the tree. They are the most incredible family animals you have ever seen. You'll see more pictures of the lions, but the interaction between the families, there'll be a male and there'll be several females and numerous babies and several babies of different ages, and they are extremely loving. The babies all play, they come up to the moms, both moms, and snuggle, do the little headbutt thing under their chin, and they nurse off both mothers. And it's incredible, and the mothers take really good care of them until they get fed up. And you'll see some of that too. But
The dads are a little bit more prickly than that.
But they like their babies too. You can see they put up with them.
So they're just out looking for trouble. I had a contest to name this image, and the winner came up with Cub Scout. And there's an example of the affection that you especially see with the lionesses.
The lionesses are wonderful. They have bugs on their faces, and one will be licking and licking and licking the bugs off, and then all of a sudden she'll just stop licking and put her head down, like, okay, your turn. And then the other one starts licking all the bugs off. They're covered with flies and bugs.
Did you adjust that image, the one?
I adjust all my images.
Okay.
In what way do you mean adjust?
Well, it was so beautiful and sort of so muted and
Well,
you
a
know,
lot of that
you
was
could-
early
you
morning
could do
light.
that on the fly.
That was the light. It was early in the morning. They were backlit. So actually that's very much color, what the camera saw.
It's just, it was beautiful. Beautiful. Got the light on the back.
That's the backlighting of the sun's behind them and halos their hair. It's a beautiful light, and we of course concentrated on trying to find that pretty light in the morning. And like this was late in the afternoon. The next one I think was at sunset. The one with is it an Impala? I think it's an Impala.
So we had one morning, they went rushing out of the tent and they were in a pretty big hurry because they wanted us to see this leopard cub. He's about 6 months old. He's an only child. Mom had gone off hunting and he was home alone. And we were there for hours, and he never stopped finding things to do.
ADHD in fur form. But he also didn't leave a 10-foot square area either.
No, he stayed put. So there's one of his toys.
His tail. Moss. We found some moss to pick up and play with.
It's a little cross-eyed in this.
He was totally oblivious. There were probably 4 or 5 vehicles surrounding him, all trying to situate to see him. But he was in a leopards tend to be very shy. They're very hard to sight, and they stay hidden. This one has a mother. I've forgotten her name, but you'll know it. Do you remember her name?
Lorelei, something like Lorelei.
Yeah, it'll come back to us. But anyway, she's very well known, and she's used to the traffic, I think, and so she's a little more happy to let people see her baby and relaxed. Yeah, that's the word. So he was pretty calm about and we had this beautiful sunrise coming up. You can see the gold light on the right side of his face. That's the sun coming up. We had incredible light.
We found a bird in a hole we were chasing a little bird too.
And they didn't like it. They were busy complaining.
There's his mother. This is the next day. We went back again because the guides were very excited. She had had a kill in the night. And the leopards take their kill, it was an impala, and they haul it up a tree and hang it in the branches. So she had her kill hanging in the branches, and she was just hanging out at the time that we arrived. Now she's thinking about breakfast.
I think he was up there too.
Well, he actually did go up and had his breakfast while she was still resting from her night's outing. There she is. There he is on his way up for his breakfast.
The focus in his eyes is incredible. They really pay attention to what they're doing.
Do you know whether she had just one cup?
She just had the one.
She just had one?
There's breakfast.
Mira, ya se lo comieron. Wow.
When we flew in, we came in on a charter plane, you saw that in the video. And it landed, there was one tree and the planes, and in the tree was a leopard kill at the airport.
It was an old one. We kept looking at it, trying to figure out what is that in that tree. It looks like an animal, but it was a very old leftover kill.
That's the cub, also climbing the same tree.
So the male leopard doesn't stick with the family?
No, the mother raises the babies on her own.
We never saw a male leopard on our trip, except this guy who is a male. Now, this is his way, on his way down. He worked his way down, and then about the last 2 or 3 feet, he just said, "Heck with it," and, he's coming down like this, and just swung around and fell out of the tree.
Landed in the bushes.
Now he's pestering his mother.
He totally harassed her. And that shows the cat mentality. The cats are incredible. They just put up with, to a point.
She was not quite as gracious as the lioness mothers were. They've made up now. So we saw a few rhinoceroses. This one, if you can't tell, is looking right at the Land Cruiser, pawing the dirt, and we didn't actually stay very long. It's called a black rhinoceros, and also called a hook-lipped rhinoceros because they have a hook on their lip and they use that to pick branches. That is a normal zebra foal. You see where the brown is actually going to be their black striping when they get older?
You can tell the juveniles because the stripes are brown.
And this was a very special sighting. We had heard that this foal had been discovered about the middle of September, right before we went. But again, the Mars is like 600 square miles. This is a genetic mutation that takes place about once in a million, called pseudomelanism, and it affects their stripe pattern. You notice he doesn't have stripes, he has polka dots. So he was just a baby. He'd been born maybe a couple weeks before we got there. About a week after we left, he and his mother crossed the Mara River, went into Tanzania, and are pretty much out of sight, out of mind as far as all the rangers go. So we can just hope that he survives another year and shows up next year. All the brown should be black when he matures, but he should keep that spotted pattern. But that was
on our bucket list.
It was on our bucket list, and it was so
Find him,
amazing
find him.
that we found him. Yeah. We bribed our driver.
Alex, remember Alex?
Yeah.
Mario Alex?
We bribed him, and I mean, it took 5 minutes, and he took us to the zebra, so I think we were had.
Isn't he incredible looking?
It reminds me of a tapir.
He does. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. He doesn't have any hair on his tail, which is worrisome to all of us horse people because we feel like, that's how you keep the flies off.
And something is going on that's causing this balding pattern. I don't know anything about it, what it means, whether it's going to be a long-term problem or not.
His
You
face
could see
has.
it in his
yeah.
face.
See how his muzzle and part of his nose is bare. Here.
But his mother didn't reject him.
Oh, no, he's fine, the herd accepted him.
He sticks out like a sore thumb. We had heard about him, a few pictures had shown up online, and we had heard about him, and we kept saying when we got there, we want to see him, because there were several things, and you'll see others as we go through here, but he was one of the big ones because you don't know day by day if he'll still be there, you know, who knows, you could grab him and eat him, and because he sticks out like a sore thumb, it's worrisome, you know.
This is a regular zebra foal. If you look hard, you'll notice that this is a very lucky zebra. Does everybody see that? He's got a big laceration on his lower belly. It's healing, he looks fine. But I would certainly have to guess he tangled with the lion. So of all the animals, they weren't that shy except for the warthogs, and the warthogs took one look at you and they would
Throw the tail up
throw
first.
the tail up and run away. They were so skittish, which I guess is their survival skill.
I don't know if you can see the baby's tail is sticking straight up too. A little top out at the one of these, I don't know if it's this one, but had 3 babies. We saw several with 2, and then there was one we saw with 3 babies.
How many of you have seen The Lion King?
Pumbaa.
Pumbaa, and that's what our guides called these guys. They all called them Pumbaa. Pretty serious tusks on these guys too. So this is a cheetah female. That was another bucket list. They had a cheetah female that had 6 cubs. They haven't had a litter of 6 cubs since 2010. After we left, they found a litter with 7 cubs. So her name is Lorelei. Her 6 cubs are still alive. She's managed to keep them all going. They are at risk. The hyenas will get them, the lions will get them. She has to kill enough to feed them. So it's a challenge raising that many babies.
Cheetahs have such a high metabolism that they have to eat every day. Where the lions can eat and go a few days, but the cheetahs have to eat every day. For her to eat and to feed her babies, she has to leave them. And she leaves them in some shady little spot under a tree and disappears. And they can't fight off the hyenas, you know, so she can't really protect them from some of the larger animals. The hyenas have massive jaws, and they won't go toe to toe with the hyenas. So she's pretty an amazing mom to hang on to them.
And they're alone. The females raise their cubs alone.
Do the rangers ever supplement?
No, they don't. They don't interfere with the.
The hyenas, when I was there, the guys told us that because the lioness go out hunting, hyenas would go back and eat
The
their
babies.
That when they did find a hyena, they killed it. They wouldn't eat it.
Interesting.
Yeah. They say, I've read 2 different statistics. I think the right one is that about 30% of cheetah cubs live to maturity. Also heard 5%, but I think on the game reserve, they have better odds, so probably the 30% survive. One of the things they range for hundreds of miles. The fact that human habitation is taking over the savanna is one of the reasons the wildlife are having trouble surviving. And there they are. There's 5. There's another one behind the hill, but you can't see.
He's on the left top, behind those 2 on the left top. The babies have the mandible on their necks. You can tell they're juveniles with that fluffy mane kind of thing.
I've read 2 different reasons as to why they have it. The first one I didn't really buy into. They said it makes them look like an especially ferocious badger. And I'm like, that I'm not so sure about, but they say, which makes more sense, that it actually helps them hide in the tall grass as a camouflage. And they're practicing their hunting skills. So at some point, she had enough of laying around in the sun with her 6 kids and decided it was time to go off for a meal. She's gone out hunting here. The impala spotted her. They're all on alert, trying to decide what they should do about this.
What's interesting too is they don't just see her and leave, they all see her and they actually even walk toward her. And there's, I wish I had a video, but none of us wanted to take a video because we wanted to get the shot. But they start making a noise. There's a lot of like, and there's this loud huffing noise going on and they're all snorting and huffing and they keep watching her. She's approaching and we're all going, go, it's time to go now. And they go.
Now they're on their way. This is a Thompson's gazelle running away from a cheetah. And this particular hunt, she missed. As close as she got, she did not get the impala.
There's apparently sprinters, they only will run a short distance and then they kind of quit. And if the impala hangs in there long enough, they can outdistance them.
So that didn't bother her. She went back to her cubs. They were all under a tree and they entertained themselves. We have no idea what was up that tree, but they seemed quite interested. So the Cape Buffalo are pretty tough guys, and I was reading about them. Of all, they have the big 5 game animals. Cape Buffalo is one of them. They are responsible for 4 times as many deaths of game hunters as all the other big game combined, which are elephants, lions, leopards, and something else. And apparently, if you kill a Cape Buffalo, the herd, I know the other one, they will follow the game hunters back to camp. They'll sneak up on them, and they'll attack the camp. They plot to get revenge.
The males have the I want to call them horns, I don't know, maybe it's best. They have that full coverage over their skull where the females do not. Their horns come out from the side.
And that spread of horns is about 4 feet. Those little birds are called oxpeckers. And I've seen them crawl in their ears, up their nose.
They're the cleanup crew.
Yeah. There's one of my 20,000 trees. So we had a call that there was a leopard up a tree. And we went racing off to find the leopard who was up a tree. He's not dead, by the way. He was sound asleep. All the cars are circling the tree and we're trying to get a good picture, and there are leaves in the way and there are branches in the way and it's really hard, and it's, Simon, would you go forward 6 inches? Simon, back up a foot. What about the other side? So we're going around and around this tree and he won't get as close as everybody else was parked. And it was really kind of annoying. And then later that day we heard that another Land Cruiser with tourists inside had parked under a tree and a leopard had dropped down through the roof and landed in the car with the tourists, who then was evac'd. So that's why you don't park under a tree without being really sure you know what's in it.
The vehicles have big open area. You know, big sunlights all the way the length of them, so you can stand up and take pictures through the top. So
It just sounds
probably a great story a year from now for that guy, but probably not a fun experience.
So they have tons of eagles there. I think we saw 6 different kinds. This one is a bandolier eagle, and they're pretty spectacular. And this is my favorite bird. It's called a lilac-breasted roller.
Are they small?
Yes, maybe like so, including the tail. What are these called? Oh, it's a hornbill.
It's a ground,
It's a hornbill.
yeah, it is a ground hornbill or something like that, I forgot now. They spend all their time walking through the grass and pecking, and then they grab a bug and then toss it up in the air and grab it and swallow it, so. And they have really bright, kind of light bluish white eyes, kind of unusual eyes. Yeah, the crown-crested crane.
Pretty spectacular bird. Look at that.
Just walking around that looks pretty amazing. Don't ask me, I forget. That is a female and I'm blank on what it is. Well, we're just giving you an overview. They do have beautiful birds, so incredible birds.
That's a guinea fowl. Kingfisher. Snake eagle?
Snake
I
eagle,
think this is a snake eagle.
having lunch. Not thrilled with the audience. That was the buff,
This is
buff,
a tawny eagle. So this is the Black Rock Pride. We spent time with them. Big outcropping of rocks, and the mother lioness had a litter of, they looked to be about 8-week-old cubs. And they came out of their crevice. They have a cave down in a crevice, and they came out. They're not too steady on their feet. He definitely got stuck for a little while, but he worked it out.
ooh, sharp little teeth.
This is a young male lion. He's maybe around 2 years old. Starting to mature, and when he is sufficiently mature, he's going to get kicked out of the pride. And then he's going to be on his own or with some other young males similar age until he's strong enough and bold enough to try to break back into a pride. He'd have to fight and defeat, the resident male lions. But he hasn't been kicked out yet, so. And that is what we mean by bugs. This baby giraffe had just been born. The mother still was retaining her placenta. You can see his little umbilical cord. It was really cute.
We were lucky to see, what,
Lots of new babies.
lots of new babies, but like probably 2 or 3 with the afterbirth, so they had just been born. Very caring, again, the mothers are all really maternal.
It's interesting how white the white is, and then they grow up and they get dirty and yellow.
Yeah. There are different types too. I don't know, we probably don't have them in here, but there were some giraffes with a darker coat pattern. I'd have to research it, I don't remember, but I know we saw some that had a very dark, kind of a blackish edge to them and a darker brown. This is the harassment that the mothers put up with. I don't know even if you see them, but there's one hanging on her tail too. A lot.
this,
when-
yeah, okay, go ahead. Well, this is when, I have a series of these pictures, and each step, this little guy is pecking at her hawk, and finally, she's just like, I'm really done with this. And she let him know. This is the other thing that's interesting, because the males put up with quite a bit, but the babies watch them really closely. When they walk around them, you can see their eyes look at the dads and like, is he putting up with this, or is he losing his temper?
Now we have to be a little more careful. This is called a water buffalo. That is a dick. It's tiny. It's like
Very shy.
black jacketed,
Black coated, black-backed jackal. That one looks like Lily.
That's a bat-eared fox. Also hard to catch out in the open. They usually run away pretty quick. This is called a serval cat.
There was a guy on our trip who's been to Africa several times, and he had only seen a serval cat once, and he was so stunned that he dropped his camera so he could coo and ah over it. He said, it's the one thing that would make my entire trip if we find one. And our driver took us to the location where they had reported one, and he didn't know it. And then this guy, his name is Craig, he kept saying, where are we going? And Simon would say, well, I'll show you when we get there. And when we got there, he said, okay, here's what we came to see. And the guy was really excited. Very shy,
They're
quiet.
small again. They're nocturnal normally, and again, they're only maybe that tall.
And they live in the grasses, so you're just driving around in the grass hoping you can see one.
These are the wildebeest. This is what we actually came to see. Well, we came to see everything. But we came during wildebeest migration. They have like about 1 million wildebeest. And they migrate from Tanzania to Kenya and back to Tanzania. It's a big circular migration that just goes on year after year after year. But the exciting part of it, which we did not see, is when they cross the river, in order to go back to Tanzania, they have to plunge into this river. The crocodiles are waiting for them. The herds of millions of wildebeest are, swimming across, and it's supposed to be quite exciting. We did see a teeny tiny little migration where they found a nice shallow river and they splashed across about ankle high and disappeared on the other side. That was our experience with the wildebeest migration.
When they're going to from Tanzania to Kenya,
Mhm.
the crocodiles aren't waiting for them?
In the water, yeah. No,
Oh,
crocodiles
so
are-
both
Both
directions?
directions.
Anytime they crossed the Mara River, but the river we saw them cross was called the Sand River, and it wasn't very exciting.
You get a warning, and the drivers have radios and they talk to each other, and they let each other know if they see them starting to do this, where they kind of line up and start heading in a direction with some sort of purpose. And when they do that, you kind of, the cars just sort of follow them in the hopes that they're gonna take the plunge. And what happened with us is, nobody crossed the Mara. And the Mara is where they're really leaping off the sides of the cliffs into the water, and there's more crocodiles. And this was a much more peaceful, nice crossing. The others can be a bloodbath, so.
It's rain related. They're following the rain because the rain brings the grass. And they're constantly on the move because 1 million wildebeest eat a lot of grass. So there's our river crossing. The zebras lead the way. They're a little braver. The wildebeest will hang back, and then finally they'll get brave enough to make the crossing. This is a wildebeest running from a lion attack. The lion's not after him, but he's one of the ones that's scattering.
When we were watching that migration, there was a lion, which will come up probably later, that was sort of hanging out nearby, and we knew she was probably following, looking for somebody who is older, slower, sicker. And she was hanging back, so we were watching her and watching them because we expected some sort of a hunt to go on. And going the absolute opposite direction is this little baby wildebeest going 100 miles an hour, going the wrong way toward the lion, bawling his head off, and we're all going, oh my God, where are you going? And he went, bah, 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 all the way the wrong way, and then pretty soon, about 5 minutes later, wah, and he's running the other way and ran back. And I read later that they actually do know each other's voices, and that in those massive herds, if they keep yelling, they locate each other. So I'm hoping that's true. He didn't get caught, this one did.
Yeah, this one never saw her coming.
She came up, she was behind a termite mound, and he was eating grass, and we were waiting for the big charge and the big leap, and the lioness literally practically just took 2 hops and was on him. He didn't have a prayer.
Look at the size of him compared to that wildebeest.
And she was trying to just take him off. This was after she'd killed him, and she was actually moving him to a different location, kind of. The driver said probably just to establish ownership. This is mine, and I'm moving it so everybody knows it's mine.
And what they do is she has grabbed him around his muzzle and she's suffocating him. And that's how they finish the kill and make it end more quickly. The cheetahs do something similar, but they go for the throat and bite down on the throat, which also suffocates them. And the babies have got the tail. New toy.
Not to be found at PetSmart.
Another newborn, this is a topi. Brand new.
She was up on her legs first time up, sopping wet, and mother still had the afterbirth, and she was wobbling around. And another great mother.
So one of our leaders told us we should really, really, really hope for rain because we get the best pictures in the rain. We also get wet in the rain ourselves.
They do a great job though. They have these roll down plastic windows on the side of the Land Cruiser. So he hops out, runs over and drops the windows on one side, and then he makes sure he parks the vehicle so wherever the wind's blowing, it blows into the covered side so that we can keep shooting out the open side.
So the idea was to slow the shutter speed down so you could show the rain. Then what happens is the lion shakes his head and your shutter speed is too slow for the lion, and you get that.
That's more the goal. You kind of hope you can get the rain flying off, not the spinning head.
Can't see it too much. She's sitting out in the rain as well.
And the male was sitting out in the rain. The female and all the babies were kind of huddled under bushes. It was interesting. He didn't seem to mind sitting in the rain.
And that's what happens when you push daddy's buttons too hard.
They really watch the faces. It's really interesting, the cubs, how they watch the parents.
And as soon as the rain stops, they're all out to play again. It's another example. You were asking about the backlight.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Nice job. We always, going back at night, we were always looking for a skyline with a single creature of whatever it might be, like the antelope that you saw earlier, the impala, and then we found elephants one day. We had was it sunrise or sunset with the giraffe with the pink? There's a giraffe on the skyline, and the driver stopped, and from our vantage point, the pink was a little to the right. We said, well, back up 6 feet. So he moved, and we got the giraffe centered in the pink, and then this ball of sun came up under the giraffe. It was pretty cool. Cooperative. And there were zillions of hot air balloons at the same time. So you have all the hot air enthusiasts, and you have all the photographers out there doing the same thing.
They'll land and spread out a nice breakfast under a tree, same thing they do in Tucson.
Do they carry rifles?
None of our guys carried rifles.
So the balloons land out in the middle of nowhere?
I don't know what the balloon people do.
We're guessing they had probably Land Cruisers following them on the ground. You don't want to be, somebody in our truck asked them, we were driving across a very benign savanna area, and he said, what would happen if I went jogging here in the middle of the day? And they said, you would die. There were what, five baby hyenas? We never did figure out who the mother was. They're the most bizarre creatures. Their interactions, they're really strange. The one we think was the mother was just cranky, snarly with everybody. But then I think they did nurse her, and then there was another one hanging around, half the time looked like it was gonna eat him, and half the time she looked like she was an older child from an earlier litter.
She was trying to pick this one up by the scruff of its neck.
Yeah. And the babies don't like that either. It's really interesting. The cubs don't like it either. They really try to squirm out of the reach. It's pretty.
This is an old bull elephant. You can see his tusk is broken on the right side.
He's an older one.
How many of you have the new Apple TV Plus? If you do, I highly recommend. They have a documentary called The Elephant Queen, and it's outstanding. These crocodiles weigh about 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, 15 feet long.
Up to 20 even, I think they said.
These are big crocodiles. They're Nile crocodiles.
That's a teenager up above, kind of an earlier litter. She played with the little cubs all the time.
This was a miss. She actually did jump up on his back, but didn't take him down. And I had read that it's pretty risky for the lions to tackle the Cape buffalo because the rest of the herd will come back to rescue them. There is another group of cheetahs. The females are loners, but the males team up. And this is a group called the Five Brothers. They think 3 are from one litter, 2 are from another litter, and they hunt as a pack, which means they can take down bigger game. And we followed them quite a bit. It was pretty entertaining. So this is one of the Five Brothers. And they are on the hunt. And that's how much they mind having Land Cruisers in their hunt.
Wow.
The wildebeest.
The females just can't take down wildebeest, it's too big for them, they have to go for the antelope.
And it takes an army to bring down one, that's why the whole group focuses on it.
So that last kill, the hyenas knew that the cheetahs were hunting and they just kind of stayed in the vicinity. As soon as the cheetahs got that wildebeest down, the hyenas just moved in. Cheetahs backed off and gave in to the hyenas. The hyenas have 1,000 pounds per square inch fight power. I think I read it was like number 8 in the animal world. Number 1 is Megalosaurus. Number 3 is Tyrannosaurus Rex. Hyenas are number 8. The cheetahs have no chance against them.
And they don't risk it because they crush bones, so they don't hang around.
So this is after the kill, off to find something else for dinner. So we followed them quite a ways and they eventually came to a river.
It looks like a painting.
They don't particularly like water. They try to keep their feet dry. And getting to the end of the day.
Beautiful skies, beautiful sunsets, beautiful
Kind of like an
sunrises.
Arizona monsoon. They've have the thunderstorms in the distance. You can see the rain over here and not over here, lightning. Very much like a summer monsoon here. Now this is not something you just casually do out in the wild in the lions.
Especially with lions.
So we took all the land cruisers together, we all stood close together, we had our Masai guys with their store-bought machetes. And that is it.
It's about 9 days.
Okay, well, I'd first of all like to thank everybody that came this evening. I'd also like to thank my Northern Trust family that's here hosting us all tonight. So kudos to them, all of them that are here, thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for coming, and of course I'd like to thank our amazing presenters. Now there is still food and wine available, so don't feel like you have to run out the door unless you've got kids you got to pick up from daycare. But other than that, come on and stay. And thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And they'll be available to answer any questions.
Yes, if anybody has questions, let us know.
Kenya. Kenya.
I had a wreck. This is my first day that they took the brace off and said I can come wait for my letter. They were just jump off and just land straight on your foot and break your leg.
You know what? Long time ago, I was teaching one of our instructors was demonstrating something she jumped on. She jumped off like that. I think she was actually demonstrating her
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's like this one. This one was being naughty. It's like I'm getting off of this one. And it wasn't even, I mean, it wasn't that big a deal. Yeah, this one was acting like, you know, he's gonna go back and like maybe go. Yeah, I'm not riding that. So I stepped, it's a ranch horse. Freaking ranch horse. So yes, today I got the okay that the bones healed, the brace can come off. Now PT. Yeah. So it's nice because it was 6 weeks on me. Brett drove me to school, pushed me to class.
You're lucky. Well, you're lucky, you know, like, does some things.
Exactly, and my classes, well, one of the classes during the day was small enough that I lived in my office, but all my other classes were at 8 in the morning, so since he had to drive me to work, he just brought me in class. But now I'm officially on the road to recovery, so it's a very good day.
Yeah, but you still can't drive.
No, it's, oh yeah. My ankle worked.
Sometimes she's like,
You do what you do.
I mean, how is she gonna get there? You know.
But it wasn't by myself. It's like, you know what? I can do this. I know it hurts, but once you got a place, I can do this. Because, you know, it's what we do. Well, I drove home. I called Brett when I could get in cell range and said, I think I broke my leg, so be ready. We have to go to the hospital. So I gave him a heads up. He was ready.
Yeah, and you know what? That's exactly where
Yeah. So it was so, yeah, the X-ray. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, that always sucks. No, because it would, yeah, pull your leg. Yeah, you do not want to pull because that is painful. It's the only part that kind of hurt. You know, it never hurt once they screwed it back together. It was a little painful when it was waiting for it. But life goes on, and hopefully by the Christmas party, I will be.
I fell off mine a couple weeks ago. Did you? Break my shoulder.
You ran into a freaking tree.
I drew a tree chasing a cow. It was a little bit
At the
lower
walk,
than I thought.
and then the tree knocked him off his horse.
Held on as long as
Yeah, no, the worst fall I think I ever had was my dog.
Oh, yeah, remember? Yes.
I got the ambulance right out of that one.
Yeah.
And I was in school, on crutches,
Yeah.
all the way around.
Yeah.
Tore all my crutches. I fall. Then I just got to the point where I've got sacroiliitis.
Yeah. So at that point, it's just doing.
Well, you know, it's like if the horses are good, you know, if I my horse at 25 was
Yeah.
you know, but he stops. I think I thought of that first time I saw it. The good thing is that because we had to watch several times, years and years ago, like, he would take out 2 steps and then he'd be like, he'd come back.
Yeah.
Put his head down like,
This is too much work to go through this sand.
I'll stand here and wait for you. But I finally just, you know, like, it would be really good, but then I would be off and then I'm back and just like, let's see.
Enough fun.
Enough fun. It's great.
Yeah, well, I'm anxious to get back on. So.
And some people really, I enjoy teaching way more than I am. I think 5 courses a day every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done with the teaching part. I figured out I was teaching what the little voice in my head was saying. It's like, you are just too stupid to do this. What are you thinking?
You will never get it, just stop now.
Exactly. Yeah, the Betty Barron secret notes on her judging card. FAS, my nuclear sport. I actually like my adult friends that I help. I love that, but it's just
Still yoga.
yeah, there's yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, baby, I gotta go to that camp. My horse is thinking the same thing. He made up with it.
Yeah, he said I cleared just fine. I don't know about you, idiot on the top. You're supposed to be the brains of the operation. We got the bronze and the brain, except sometimes the bronze shares the brain.
That's true.
Yes, yes, because we actually had the party that Brett plays Santa. I told him it always conflicts, so she moved it to Saturday. So Brett's Santa party Saturday, so he can come. Carol.
Good.
You can have some pull if you're Santa and it's a Santa party.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, and hopefully, maybe I'll be on one crutch, or maybe I will just be walking. And it's just how it goes.
So how much more time do they say you have?
Said,
4 weeks.
no, nothing, it's just wrapped. That's swelling.
She's got 4 weeks. He said in 4 weeks, I want you
Be able to put weight on it. Still have your crutches, which usually keel over. But after that, so I should be fully weight bearing after.
See you, Helen. I met you at Carol's.
Yes, you did.
So braces off.
Oh, she's got last week.
Today? Today, yeah.
But you can't put any weight on
I
it.
can start putting weight. Said work it down, work and put more and more, and in 4 weeks my goal is to be weight bearing.
Well, these are just the spring, right? I hope this is spring.
I've got the big conference next week, and then finish up, and then
Yeah, and you're on break.
yeah. So that's good.
Well, this man does all the work.
He does all the driving.
Without him, he feeds too, and hunt stalls, don't you?
Well, he feeds. There's the whole mucking thing, not so much. He feeds. No way. Well, the stall horses get the stalls like that. The pen horses. Hanging.
It's pretty tough.
Good to see you. Wasn't this fun? Yes.
I mean, I felt sorry for her in a way.
Yeah, but she didn't mind.
Very interesting. That's what I think those nights should be. Is teaching you about art, not just saying this isn't my painting of Yellowstone.
Yeah, well, she is just fabulous with color.
She's a
Just like
lovely
Carol
artist.
and Patty are marvelous with color.
These photographs.
like something I've never seen before.
Remember when she just first started playing with the photos, and you know, she sort of manipulated pictures of Michelle, and look what it's turned into.
Patty,
I mean, Patty's done it forever, but
Patty,
yeah.
I had horse show pictures with Patty doing it.
Oh yeah,
And Louise Serpo.
yeah.
I have 40,000 pictures. I could really like.
Hell yeah, I think so too. We could catch you blinking at the right time.
Well, out of those 40,000 pictures, probably a couple hundred.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's how you get such good pictures.
Yeah, yeah,
Mind blowing.
it's amazing.
Okay, guys.
Okay,
I'll see you jumping next time.
Yes.
Well, we'll be jumping at the end of it. The art show.
yeah, it's really great. Man, I can't
Thank you, Barney.
So it's great. Good deal.
Okay, okay.
Well, we'll see you, I'm sure, soon.
Okay, okay.
At some event.
Santa's next Saturday.
We were exhausted. We were just really beat up. Because I'm not hanging on with your life. You're balancing on these roads. So by the time I get it, so it's really fun to do. Oh, yeah. There's space, they follow the back to camp, lay in wait, and lay down. She's gonna make with the counter. Together as the same child. And then as we go through we're on our way back.
It just seemed like they were ready to lose every game. I don't
Then I go in there. I've been giving you. Shoot, I don't know what NC is, but the last thing I did, you just go and figure out what you want. So last time, he said, you need a survey. Assuring you the intent. Well, don't tell me what to put down. And well, wait a minute. I knew you were going to say hi here. Hi, good to see you. How are you? I thought of you. Dad was telling me Red Water Regal was wrong. Oh, yeah, let's go. Oh, I know that. Do you know Peggy? It's Sherry Wesser.
The county just said, well, it turns out that the parts of since they were in the meeting, that was another example of the years around NTRS Yeah, we had an example.
Okay, so we have to do it, we have to do it on Wednesday after your birthday. I could do
used to be outside. Super neat. They thought they would run a secret gallery. Right now, that's it. That's it. I was all worried about Nelson. You guys wanted to get 10 feet from my property. You know this guy?
For quite a long while.
He's doing checks right now.
He does, he makes checks, those big safeguard checks, you know, big. How long has it been named on Amazon? Michelle Parker? Yes. That's fine, I mean, if you come to my side, the plumbers are coming at 9:30 or 9 or yeah, we figured it out, so now we're fixing it. So the hot water was just on the line, so there's also a pump that's supposed to force it to get pressure. It was corroded and frozen, which is probably why the hot water. So we have hot water now, but they're going to replace the pump, they're going to replace the hot water tank because it's probably at least 20 years old. And it's fine, except that those things go out on the road at a time. And there's a couple of other things they're doing. So there's Rowley's is spending the night. You guys are showing up at like 9 in the morning.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Okay, hope you enjoyed it.
That was a great job.
Good.
Oh, okay, I promise. Hey, when are you getting on to it? No, maybe it's done for next. Good chance we'll talk a little bit. Look at the whole list for you.
I got this thing out of the way, now it's Christmas. Because that was what I was worried about. I wasn't worried about the photographs. I've been doing so much with the blogging and stuff that I like a lot of stuff. Studied it, things like and then it's just kind of like, well, when you're talking to people, these are the kind of things you say, so let's just say them. Yeah.
Yep. April was such a good girl today. She just marched through this last grade. She kind of sort of threw it in, and I just kind of got behind her and slapped my hand. Once she got the first one, she was like, oh! It's something that it's weird, like the Navy's
Pigeon.
Oh my God.
Watch out for life.
I know, 2 weeks, that's my
Gerald, do you need help with carrying anything out?
No, once I get it all
I got a hand for you.
organized, it's all
First things first.
I'm assuming we're going to eat with
maybe it is not gonna go, but some other people are. So we are gonna have to go.
You're right.
She said, he said, you should go to the just before they go to the dog show. You can't overbid for it, tell I didn't know you had any. No. That might have been and he was really good at the baseball. So you saw the show, I just told you.
You're full enough to it's just so windswept and all like that. Somehow in the middle, it's kind of